Oh, Bob Ohm in Nashua, New Hampshire. It is September 2nd, 2013. And it's a great Monday. Oh, Tuesday. It's actually Tuesday because we had Labor Day yesterday. So this is terrific Tuesday, let's call it. Okay. Today we're going to discuss a topic that was brought up on our morning call today, the morning mindset call. And again, it was brought up because it is in the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. So some of the topics I'm talking about, sometimes I do get inspired by the calls, and they give me ideas, for what I want to talk about on these videos. We talked today about facing one's fears. And they started with the fear of poverty. Now, fears are very limiting, can be very limiting. Some people, in fact, it was very interesting in the mastermind portion of the call, as people discussed some of the fears. One young lady was talking about, a deadly fear of snakes. I do remember my daughter having that particular one as well. Snakes, so anything that looked like a snake, even a little worm, would when she was younger. We all, people have a lot of strange fears. Some people I know that are very powerful. One of my mentors admitted that he at one time had a fear of heights, and there are different types of fears. But the fear we discussed today was the fear of poverty, which can be very limiting, and because the fears themselves act as well, they project. What it is the fears are projecting through our vibrations, through our thoughts, and therefore we get, the way it works is we tend to attract more of whatever we think about and whatever we're feeling. So it's really important to try to get away from the fears. One method we use a lot, and I didn't have a chance to mention this on the morning call today, but I can tell you we use it in. I've been exposed to this through GIN, or Global Information Network. It's called tapping. Some people call it EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, or thought TFT. I've heard it referred to, tapping. I can tell you that Dr. Roger Callahan was the first to start tapping. There's various points you can tap on that actually tune in to the meridians. I won't go through the process here. I can tell you that you can go to tryitonEverything.com and try it on everything.com and find out a lot more about the tapping techniques. Now, these are very interesting because Dr. Callahan had one particular patient that he's a psychotherapist and was working in Beverly Hills. He had a lady with a deadly fear of water. She couldn't even go and take a bath or a shower. He had come back from Asia with learning about acupuncture, decided he'd try some of the same points, the meridians, but with tapping instead. It was so effective that the lady almost jumped in a swimming pool, not even knowing how to swim afterwards, and her fear was completely gone. He lost the patient, but he had treated her for 3 years to no avail with traditional methods. So I think that tapping cannot be overlooked. I like Lee Beamer as well. Gary Craig is another one that took, these are people that took Roger Callahan's tapping and modified it to make them even easier and quicker to use sometimes, in terms of not necessarily with specific algorithms. If you really want to learn the whole deal, you got to go to Roger Callahan. Tapping the Healing Power Within is a great book, Tapping the Healing Power Within. And Roger has developed various algorithms. I've seen his wife talk, Joanne Callahan, a few times now through webinars and at live events through the GIN group that I'm in. And very, very impressive stuff. I love Lee Beamer. He's out in Aspen, Colorado. Quantum Awakenings, or the quantum emotional, I forget exactly, but it's something with quantum. I know we have one webinar titled Quantum Awakenings. Lee Beamer, Beymer, shows a very simple technique where you just tap in the spot right here with three fingers, so that you make sure you're catching the meridian. There's I believe an intestinal meridian over there, and this seems to work for almost everything, with some affirmations maybe for about 3 minutes. and with some breathing along the line. But anyway, look up some of those, folks. Those are some methods. I have helped myself with whenever any kind of anxiety or something in particular that might upset me. I've been able to blow out the emotions very quick with some tapping, and it's been very effective for me. Okay, I will say some other very logical ways of facing fears. Let's talk about this. Facing them, just simply facing them, deciding, hey, I'm not gonna, I'm probably letting my thoughts really get the better of me. My imagination, everything is going. It's kind of going in reverse. You've got everything going the wrong way because of the fears. So what do? You face your fears. That's why the title of this is even facing your fears. One lady talked about that. One thing people can do is say, hey, what's the worst thing that can happen? And this works especially with what I call rational fears, as opposed to the irrational fears, such as sometimes snakes and things like this, these heights and various irrational fears. Well, what I call irrational, but more rational fears like fear of poverty, fear of death, fear of success. I mean, there's fear of failure. There's fear of loss of love, things like that. Well, sometimes it works to just simply face them head on. Hey, what's the worst thing that can happen if this was to happen? And we can often say, hey, I mean, I've said that sometime, but in terms of thinking, hey, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen? Well, I end up sleeping in a tent. Big deal for a little while. It's like, hey, I was a hippie in the 60s. I slept in worse places than tents. I slept everywhere. Who cares, really? In other words, if we're not afraid of these things, they're most unlikely to ever come to pass, because it's the very fear, and Franklin Roosevelt had said that there is really nothing to fear but fear itself. And he put it very nice when he said that. That was I think a great quote that Franklin Roosevelt had said and had quoted, and that was when they were facing really the depression and things like that, because there's many people that do believe, as I do believe, that the fears brought on things like the depression and so forth, and sometimes even with wars and things like that, they can make wars much worse. Collective fear. And then you have almost like a mastermind thing. Same thing with disease, various diseases that spread through large populations, and we had great influenza diseases, things like this. Well, the fears. Really, if we believe that the mind really does control everything vibrationally, everything is controlled, it's very easy for many of us to believe that the fears of these, even various spreads of diseases throughout history and things like that were hastened by this. So again, these things, but I like to face them and say, hey, what's the worst that can happen? And face them and say, I'm not going to let you bother me. This crazy. I'm gonna go forward. That's it. You don't have control over me. It's a matter of once you face them and they're out in the open. Okay, I'm not going to let it control me. We can say that. We can command our subconscious mind. I'm not going to let my fear of failure stop me from moving forward, or my fear of success, or my fear of losing money or something. Okay, so by doing this, we plow forward, we plow through our fears, we get positive momentum going, we get the positive stuff going, and then we have a much better chance of experiencing good health, good success, love in our lives, all the things that many people want, and most of us want. Okay, so that's my thing on fear today. Obviously, it can go a lot deeper. I do recommend reading Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. He covers that subject great. And I do recommend checking into the tapping techniques. Tapping on meridians really helps with all kinds of fears, anxiety, and even pain. It's amazing, and I've seen this. So with that, I'm going to let you go. You have a great day today on this Tuesday. Terrific Tuesday, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.